Hey guys, you've joined us live on Moneycontrol. I'm Manisha Gupta, and bold big headlines today clearly have been in case of rice, where we've seen the prices globally jump up to nearly 12-year highs. It has been a year which has seen prices constantly go up in last couple of quarters, and that is because India, after one and another, has been increasing export restrictions here. So to start with, we are looking at restrictions of almost all non-basmati varieties as of now. It clearly started with the white non-basmati rice, where we saw the first export restrictions come in. Remember, when it comes to non-basmati, India accounts for nearly 80% of trade, and 40% of overall global trade happens from India here. So we've seen white basmati, non-basmati rice go, then broken rice, there was a ban on that as well. 20% duty on export of parboiled rice, and the latest has been exports halted for basmati rice contracts which are above $1,200 a ton. Now, when you look at the non-basmati, government is looking to check whether that is going in sense of basmati here. India has shipped 4 million tons of basmati rice in the previous year, and the countries that we export to are Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, UAE and US as well. Those are the numbers which tell you on last year on what kind of numbers did we do in sense of basmati and non-basmati exports as well. So clearly, non-basmati stands tall there in sense of numbers. This is India's rice production, which is expected to be on the higher side previous year, and this year as well we've seen sowing gain up by nearly 4%, so a higher crop expectations. And it's not just India. Myanmar, the 5th largest rice exporter, also is looking to restrict exports, and Thailand already has told its farmers to reduce rice cultivation to conserve water. The only plus, as I said, is that India rice sowing is more than 4% on the higher side. Otherwise, on an year-on-year basis, we've seen the global rice index gain up by nearly 20%. To put all of that in perspective, we are now joined by Himanshu Agrawal from Satyam Balajee Group. Himanshu, hi, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, on the minimum export price, which has been set by the government at $1,200 a ton, how would you look at that? Because when you look at the last 5 years average, has been less than $1,000.
Yeah, I think government over here is trying to maximize the revenue for India, because due to competition, the pricing were on the lower side. But I think $1,200 would make sense over there, because government also wants to allow the premium non-basmati rice, which is going and serving the Indian diaspora living abroad. So I think that's what government intends to do. They would like to keep the price at $1,200, and I don't see any numbers should go down on these levels, because all these countries where basmati is going are pretty developed countries, and they have the capacity to pay these, Middle East or US or Europe. So this $1,200 is the government's intention. I think eventually they would allow the non-basmati, the premium non-basmati like the Sona Masuri also to be shipped, because it's important for the people living out, Indian community living outside, that they are fed. So yeah, this $1,200 is not that much of a concern as of now.
Okay. We do understand that from global reports that nearly 10 million tons of India rice exports could be hit because of what government has done. What's your sense on those numbers?
Yeah, non-basmati rice was about at 17%. So yes, I would say that 10 million is a fair number to say that it could be restricted to. And it is also to be seen that the duty that they have placed on parboiled, it's a really tricky one that they have done, in which they have said that post 15th of October, that is starting 16th, the duty will go back to zero. So that has kind of paralyzed the trade for next 50 days, because nobody would want to enter contracts, no loadings, and nothing would happen in this period, because people would want to see that nobody would pay duty if it's there for just 50 days. So I think government wants to observe that how the cultivation numbers, get into the real figures, how do they develop into, because yes, sowing is higher, but if government sees that we have the crop coming in the same amount of quantum as is expected, then they would like to relax, and then, or else they would continue the duty going forward.
So Himanshu, what you're saying is that we don't expect too much of exports to go in until 15th of October, because after that, when the duty comes down, the new crop comes in as well, and the prices will stabilize.
That is correct. That is correct. So that's what is expected, and that's what government wants to do. That's what the feeling as a trade we are getting, that government wanted a temporary seizure of the trade. So they have put in duty for 45 days. This is a very unique product that government has come in to control the market. We haven't seen much like this earlier, that they have put in duty for a selected number of time. Just for about 50 days. So of course nobody would want to pay $100 higher in this market because there were flows happening before. So, I mean, I don't see much trade happening in this period.
So, Himanshu, what does that do for the trade? I mean, I'm sure you guys are sitting tight and you know it's a short-term thing. You think the business will come back from 16th of October. But until then, how is trade dealing with this?
So yes, it was more or less like a last nail in the coffin because we first got the the white rice ban, we got the brokens ban, and now this. So yes, it's pretty crippling on our side, and the trade is very anxious to see how it develops next. The rice mills are mostly shut. The trade is, as I said, paralyzed as of now. So we're just sitting tight and trying to have a dialogue with the government, saying that how important it is for the rice millers and for the farmers community to get their value for the farming. If the exports are restricted, their income would certainly be hampered because India produces about 120 million, and I don't see them being consuming all of that. So unless government starts the PMGKY scheme, which is expected, as we have been discussing in last few discussions. If that happens, in that case, the rice would find its way, or else it would be difficult for government to do the procurement. Like I think they have been given a target of 57 million tons internally to be procured. So 57 million tons of procurement cannot happen in, if the flows are restricted. So that's what my concern is.
So for the next 45, 50 days, would you say all of this rice would come into the markets or people will hold on to their stocks? Do you think the availability in the Indian markets will increase?
So basically, this rice, which is restricted, parboiled rice, has a very small percentage of consumption in the local market because India is primarily 95% consumption is of the white rice. So the parboiled rice, any which ways, is not consumed in India, barring a few states like Bihar, Jharkhand. Nobody else consumes this market. So this is a stock that I think exporters are going to hold on to and wait for the duty to come back to zero for them to start exporting. I don't see this stock coming to the market because there isn't any demand. The reason all the plants, as I said, are shut, mainly the regions like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Andhra, all the plants are running shut now because there is no export happening. If there would have been demand, then these plants would be up and running, which is not the case.
All right. So, final question, Himanshu. What sense do you get on rice prices? Because globally, we have seen a lot of reaction come in. For the Indian markets, we have seen some affordability come back. Both the markets, what's your price range now?
So yes, like if I talk about the pricing of the parboil, it has come down from 37 to almost 31 rupees locally. So the government, the impact that they wanted, the result that they wanted, this policy have definitely yielded that result. And I think the market is going to remain pretty stable at this point in time, unless we see any change in the policy. So if the export starts again, so market would kind of stabilize at these levels. If in case the restrictions are further extended, then we would see the market further collapse to maybe old days. But I sincerely hope it's not the case.
We hope that too. Thank you so much, Himanshu, for joining us. Well, that's the view coming in for rice right now, where the prices have seen a decline in the Indian markets, but globally they seem to be really surging high.
How do world leaders view India?
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India is will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
The bright spot of the global economy.
The growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate.
The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it.
On the verge of a big transformation.
इस अमृत काल में हमारे संकल्पों की सिद्धि हमें आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक ले जाएगी.
A magnet for investment.
I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
The world is bullish on India. Moneycontrol is bullish on India. Join the campaign. Tweet to us with #MC Bullish on India.